Well, Penny joins us now. Very good morning to you,
Good morning,
Penny.
Susanna. Hi.
So the chairman is going to go. What does this mean for the chief executive, Bob Diamond?
Well, there has been, as you've been probably reading in the papers over the weekend and last week, calls for his resignation. There's no indication at this stage that that's going to happen. And remember, he's up in front of the Treasury Select Committee on Wednesday to explain exactly why some of his employees were found to be fixing the Libor. Now, the Libor is an important lending rate, sets that borrowing cost. So the lower it is, the better it is for the banks, the less of a risk they look like. And at the time, there was impetus to keep it as low as possible for this bank. But other banks are coming out. They're under investigation, and globally as well. So is this an unpicking of a global moral quagmire, is what Vince Cable called it. And the government this week starts an independent review. Not quite the public inquiry that the opposition leader is calling for. And it will take time to unpick. Now, remember, Bob Diamond is a bit of a character in the banking world. He was in front of the government a couple of years ago talking about the time for apology for the banks is over. We've done the remorse, we've now got to move on. Well, given the criticism, he may well have to eat his words.
Penny, thanks very much. Now, of course, there are other questions to be answered, aren't there, Penny?
There are, and the Treasury Select Committee is looking at the whole issue at Barclays. Bob Diamond, the chief executive, is up in front of them on Wednesday, and it's no surprise, of course, that the business pages are full of the Libor scandal, and everyone was doing it. So we'll be talking more about that in about half an hour. In the business pages of The Independent, it for the papers for the business, but I'll be back in half an hour talking more about Barclays and finding out about the reputation of the City of London and how that's affected globally now.
All right, Penny, thanks very much.
Over the last few decades, haven't they? It was considered quite a conservative, low-risk taker, in fact founded by a Quaker many years ago. But yes, has Bob Diamond been worth his pay packet so far in the round? And we should be hearing that announcement officially from the chairman in about 10 minutes, but we'll bring you more on that when it happens.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Penny joins us now. We've got the official version, the statement from Marcus Aegis here. Just pick out the key points. Well,
he says, I'm sorry, you know, it's time to step down. It's been a difficult time for the last 6 years. It's been a privilege to serve. Everything you'd expect from somebody who's resigning amid a scandal, essentially. He also goes on to say, I'm truly sorry that our customers, clients, employees and shareholders have been let down. Barclays is full of hard-working, talented individuals. Now, he's the chairman. The chief executive, whose name may be more familiar with people, is Bob Diamond. Now, whether he will then step down remains to be seen. But of course, there's, as you can imagine, much pressure for that to happen. But he does have to appear in front of the Treasury Select Committee on Wednesday to explain why some of his employees were found to be fixing or trying to rig the Libor, which is the interbank lending rate. That's important to banks because it sets their borrowing costs from each other, but it also helps them decide mortgage rates and rates of loans, that kind of thing. And we've been seeing mortgage rates sort of creeping up over the last few months with banks, so that's of interest. The government is opening a review this week looking at that. It's not the full-blown public inquiry the opposition leader wants, but you know, it will go some way to investigating what Libor is all about and how those rates are set. And Bob Diamond was famous for saying recently about the credit crunch and the banking crisis, time for apologies were over. Well, he may well have to eat his words at the very least. OK,
Penny, we'll be talking about it, of course, throughout the morning. For the moment, thank you. Statement. We knew it was coming. This is the chairman of Barclays, Marcus Aegis, who's resigned, apologising to customers and talking about unacceptable standards of behaviour within the bank.
That's right, and this comes on top of a bad week for the banks, and it's only Monday. And the bad week, of course, was last week. There were problems at RBS affecting NatWest and ULSTRE Bank customers unable to access online banking. Some customers are still without money in their accounts. A mis-selling scandal came to light involving small businesses, and as you've just been hearing, towards the end of last week, Barclays were fined nearly £300 million for taking part in interbank rate fixing. It's on the front pages of most newspapers and inside the papers. And this morning, the chairman of Barclays has resigned. Now, the financial markets don't open until 8 o'clock, so we'll see then what the city makes of all of this. But at close of play on Friday, Barclays' share price was the biggest faller. It started last week at 200 pence a share and was down to 163 pence by the end of the week. That's a drop of over 15%. Now, that's the city opening at 8 o'clock. We'll see what happens. But of course, customers will have something to say about this. The Cooperative Bank has reported a 25% increase last week in applications for current accounts. So people are voting with their feet. And the campaign group Move Your Money says hits to its site have increased too. Now, we'll be talking to the BBC's business editor, Robert Peston, in about half an hour on this. I'll be back then.
All right, Penny, thank you very much.
Just now.
Morning,
Yes,
Penny.
that's right. Good morning. Yes, this is following the £290 million fine imposed on Barclays by the Financial Services Authority at the end of last week. Marcus Aegis, the company's chairman, in his resignation statement has said he's truly sorry that our customers, clients, employees and shareholders have been let down. Well, we can speak now to Rob, joining us here on BBC Breakfast. What does this resignation mean for Barclays chief executive, Bob Diamond? Involvement in Libor fixing or rate offering. That investigation yesterday uncovered that 4 traders at RBS had been sacked at the end of last year on that. But where does that investigation go now? It will take for months and years, won't it, to unwind? Like all of the economic downturn, we seem to learn a new word every week. Just explain for us what Libor is and why it's important to the likes of you and me, mortgage customers. Some questions on Twitter asking, where does this huge fine, £290 million that Barclays will be paying, where does the money go? Well, it goes into the coffers, so helping draw down the debt of the country. Not bad. But yeah, we'll have more on that throughout the day.
Penny, thank you very much.
Thanks for
Peston this morning. Penny is here with us now. So, Penny, the emphasis now moves forward to Wednesday and this appearance.
Yes, Bob Diamond, the chief executive of Barclays, will be appearing in front of Treasury Select Committee MPs who are opening up a review into Libor, the London interbank offer rate, which is an important rate to think about, actually. It's not something we hear about very often. It's the benchmark at which banks lend to each other. It has a knock-on effect for bank customers with mortgage rates and personal loan rates, of course. So that helps to set that. And we have seen mortgage rates creep up a little bit as a result of the Libor rate changing. Now, it's an unregulated section. Chancellor George Osborne has said we're already looking at regulating Libor. It is something that is discussed between banks. It's a very flexible rate that can be assessed like that. Now, the question of whether Bob Diamond goes or not remains to be seen, and we don't know. He's in front of the Treasury Select Committee on Wednesday. But he is famous for saying a short time ago that the time for apology from the banks was over. They'd done the bit of remorse after the credit crunch, and so it was time to move on. So he was trying to draw a line under the issue of banks losing trust from the customers, but that may have to change now. And of course, we saw last week RBS, NatWest customers experiencing problems, Ulster Bank customers experiencing problems, and a scandal that hit at the end of last week, which has gone under the radar, the mis-selling of an interest rate product to small businesses. So the banks have had a bad week, and it's only Monday.
All right, Penny, for the moment, thank you.